Palpatine said to Luke all the time. That's what he's saying about Luke all the time.
Just don't be a little dick.
Stop it. Stop. I spent a really long time on this. I'm not saying what I did was good. I'm just saying I spent a long time on it.
I'm just saying I worked really hard on it. You never said how they're all about respect.
Well, they're about you respecting them.
Yeah. They're about respect in the same way that Don Corleone is about respect.
Yeah. Man, I've been listening to that Star Wars campaign podcast, and it's fucking hilarious.
I should check that out.
It is a ton of fun. The smuggler is like he's like a womanizing sexy smuggler, but everyone's so ridiculous, and he keeps handing out business cards, and they say he's like Tris Valentine, and then like, does it say sex criminal on it? He goes, no, that's two separate things. It's supposed to be sex and criminal because he's a smuggler.
That's very good.
He's a very kind-hearted bounty hunter. Oh yeah, I gotta share. Tempted by the fruit of another. No.
As soon as I've got it, I'm just gonna take us on.
Baby. Baby full of stars.
Give us that baby. All right, and we are on. Where is where? Hang on.
Oh, ew.
There we go. Okay. Hey, everybody.
By the fruit of another. Sorry.
No, please continue. Okay, now we should be good. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping in for the TGS Games weekly stream. We were delayed because my internet is falling apart, and I did not have a connection up until like 5 minutes ago. But we are here now. If you're new to the stream, this is basically right now for the next 2 weeks. This stream has just kind of turned into like the fun happy hour.
Well, next week, I guess we can stream next week. It's pretty wild. I'm gonna go to bed early because I gotta wake up early.
Oh yeah, how early do you have to get up?
I don't have to get up no earlier than normal. I'm just I'm traveling. You're a dad.
You're a dad.
I have to get up early. Otherwise, I will lose my fucking mind. I will. I get like a tick.
I know exactly the feeling that you're talking about. It's the idea.
I'm not there 5 hours early.
Yeah.
What if the plane decides it's leaving 5 hours early?
Anytime an airport is involved, it is the most stressful time in my life because I will not be okay unless we are, in all seriousness, at least 2 hours early. At least.
Yeah, I'm going to be 4 hours early.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. 1000% get that.
And then I'm going to hang out directly at the gate.
Right? Just in case they start boarding early and I miss the call because I wanted a Cinnabon.
And I need the person at the gate to look at me and be like, it's going to be okay. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. I need them to tell me everything's going to be okay. And that I'm safe and that there is no danger.
I mean, that could be dangerous as long as I'm on the plane.
Yeah. Yeah, that is kind of true. I don't know. It's sort of like, you know, when you watch like a nature documentary and like an elk is getting chased by, you know, a lion or whatever. And like, there's a moment of panic and desperation up until the lion like pins it onto the ground. And then you just kind of see it relax and it's like, okay, this is it. That's
this is life, man. Well,
that's me once I'm on the plane. Like, it's just like, okay, well, we're strapped in. Let's do it. But yeah, every bit up until that point is just like, I'm gonna be in and out of those bathrooms for like 75% of the 2 hours that I get there early for, because it's just gonna be. I can't
go in and out of those bathrooms, then I gotta carry all my stuff in with me.
Yeah, I know. It's horrendous. It's awful, right?
I don't know. I don't fly that much.
The thing is, neither do I, and I don't think of myself as being like a particularly bad flyer. But I don't know. It's just like, it's stressful.
Hugely stressful.
Yeah.
Well, it's like a bus ticket. If a bus ticket costs hundreds of dollars.
Yeah. Well, and you've got the worst of both worlds, right? You're explain your path to me. Are you going on a bus and then you're going on a plane?
Yeah, so I'm going to be going to Concord, New Hampshire, which is like 45 minutes away, 40 minutes away.
Yeah.
And they have a bus that leaves every like half hour, every hour to Logan, which is Boston Airport.
Okay.
And you can park your car there for as long as you want for free.
Gotcha.
So
okay.
I'm going to do that. And it's like a $25 bus ticket. So
yeah.
It's just easier to do that than having to deal with Boston.
Yeah, absolutely. Than dealing with Boston traffic. I have never had the pleasure myself, but I've heard that it's like the worst city in the world to drive in.
Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It's hard to navigate is one thing about Boston, because like New York is built on like a grid system, so everything kind of makes sense. Like you can solve New York because it's squares.
Yeah, right. It's a grid system.
Yeah. Boston's like a bunch of old cow roads that they turned into a city, and you're like, Jesus fucking Christ. I've been in traffic for 2 fucking hours. I have moved fucking a mile.
That sounds a lot like LA in my experience. We were there for like a week a couple of years ago, and like, I'm sure there's cool stuff in LA, but all I fucking remember is just dealing with the traffic. It was one of the worst I've experienced.
That's a shame.
Yeah. El Stragoon, thank you so much for the tier 1 subscription. I don't know what that means, if I'm being 1,000% honest. Laughs in Seattle. Yeah. I've heard Seattle's super bad too. I have an uncle that lives up that way. I think he's out in Kingston though. But yeah, I've heard Seattle's rough. My family is originally from Portland, and I hear Portland's gotten awful as far as traffic goes. But yeah. Seattle siblings.
The Seattle Siblings is a sick fucking... It's a sick sports team.
Fuck, that's very good.
Thank you.
We built Seattle on the burned down ruins of the last Seattle. That's great.
So honestly, like, we're here, but we don't know what to do.
Yeah, this is probably, if I'm being honest, it's probably going to be a short stream. Just because, guys, the work is done. Yeah. At least like the work that we needed to get done before leaving for PAX next week.
Up until El Stragoon found a pretty egregious fucking typo, honestly.
Well, and here's the thing, like, I want to soothe you a bit on this. they're gonna find typos. They're gonna find problems. That's gonna be a thing that happens.
Yeah.
And for the next, like, I'm going to say like month, 2 months or whatever, we need to just leave that out there. Like, we need to let people like leave comments. We need to gather data, gather information. That's actually something I can do today. I can make a Google survey to capture a lot of that stuff. McNancy, by all means, go for it. We'd love to field questions. That's just going to give us something to talk about for this stream.
Give us something to talk about.
And in the meantime, I'm going to make a Google form for people to put stuff that we did wrong in so that we can just not look at it. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Go. Don't need to show my work email on the stream.
That's a lie. Yes, you do.
Today, McNancy and I are the stream. You bozos are the chat. Absolutely. By all means, you guys take over. This job is not that good. You should.
The two people who have read our fucking game.
Right. Like, oh, is that supposed to intimidate me? Yeah, sure. Get up here, idiot. It's your turn. Okay. Now, if I remember correctly, we did have like a form that was built.
Yeah, I'm imagining we should probably start fresh from that shit, though.
I'm not saying use the same one, but definitely seeing what questions we asked on the previous one might be helpful. Just to get an idea of format. So I just want to see.
King of the Sea Monkeys.
Ooh, I like him.
I think that was a Space Ghost Coast to Coast quote, though.
Okay, so what do we got here? So this is one that we made for 3 aliens in a skin suit, and it basically just had mechanics. Easy to understand. Okay, can you chill out, Google Forms? I do not need all of this from you. Okay, so the layout of this one, it's laid out in 2 sections. One is mechanics and one is narrative and fun. I don't actually know if that layout really works.
Because those things should be separate.
Yeah. Okay, first we got a McNancy question. We got a McNancy. So 2 things that stood out to me. 1, the species seem pretty monolithic and the PCs are outcasts of these stagnate, single-minded peoples. And 2, there's a mechanic for punishing PCs for using the same approach too much. Which one of those do you want to field first, Corey?
Well, I mean, like, from a narrative perspective, we can talk about the idea of PCs being what do you call it? People from outside of their communities. That is sort of the intent of the game, because you are playing Vault Peddlers, which are largely people who are not well respected, not well loved, and outsiders by nature. One of the ideas of this game is you taking on like a forced family. These are people you are around because you are outside of the regular communities. And that's pretty, like, integral, I think, to the concept of our game. I don't know if Taylor has anything to say on that.
The other thing I will also add is, for most of the species options, the questions typically consist of, where are you from and why did you leave? which kind of leads to the whole outcast. Most of the options there are something to the effect of, like, I am an outcast, I chose to leave for X, Y, and Z reasons. I know with several of the species that we made, we do actually have options where, like, I'm representing my clan as, like, a diplomat in the larger world, right?
Yeah.
Or something to that effect. So we did leave some liminal space for players to make people who aren't inherently outcasts. But I think Corey's response kind of hits the nail on the head. By definition of being a Vault Peddler, you are outcasts. There aren't a lot of examples of Vault Peddlers who aren't, just by the nature of that occupation.
It is important to the world, but it is one that people don't enjoy, which is actually like the original idea of like we had like a class system, which we still utilize provinces in one degree or another, but the whole like naming of the class system was all based on like insults. So a lot of that energy carried over. As far as the punishing players for utilizing the same approach too much, it's not necessarily meant to be extremely punitive, as it is meant to encourage diversity in play. And I think narratively it tracks, like, if you're doing the same thing. If you are just punching the same, like, we don't... The whole idea of combat in Vault Peddlers is to, like, utilize each other's strengths and think in novel ways. So we didn't want to, like, go too far in one direction where it is extremely punishing for you to do the same thing over and over. But I don't want someone to just be like, I am the fighter, and what I do is punch over and over and over. And maybe we went too far in that direction. And it's something I think we're both willing to look at if it ends up like not working in playtests.
Another possible less negative version of that rule that I've been weighing for a while has been, instead of punishing somebody for taking the same thing multiple rounds, maybe reward somebody for switching to a different approach each round.
Probably a better idea, honestly.
Yeah, might be a better way to encourage that play without it feeling like a punishment.
Yeah.
But it didn't come to us in the moment.
So we are where we are at.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we got another McNancy. The Peddlers seem to be the only faction/group that is somewhat diverse. So is accepting new ideas or other approaches something you wanted to be a part of PC stories? I'll go ahead and say that we probably need to have more in... We really had to be picky and choosy about what went into playtest rules. There's a lot of lore that we've established for this world, and you're actually going to find there's quite a bit of diversity in most of the cities, most of the places that you will go. We really didn't want to make a fantasy segregated world, because that kind of stuff is just not really interesting to us. Suffice it to say, they're not the only people who are who pull from a diverse crowd. If you go into somewhere like Orod, or you go into somewhere like Vigil, even Ishtas is probably the most homogenous city. You're still going to find a pretty wide variety of people there. So going to your actual question, was accepting new ideas or other approaches something you wanted to be a part of PC stories? I think that we really intentionally, we tried to build character creation with as much narrative fodder in general as we possibly could. Now, whether that narrative fodder is geared towards what you're talking about, accepting new ideas or approaches, or whether it's something, or whether it's just something else, whether it's getting revenge on those who wronged you, whether it's trying to build an empire, whether it's trying to uncover a hidden secret about the world. the idea behind the character creation is that it is a guided system that provides an open character creation process.
I'll say this much too, on the topic of like these monolithic kind of like mono-seeming cultures, like that is kind of a part of it too, though. Like you are characters finding freedom on the frontier, and the places that are safe, like very much in that like Mad Max styling, are the places in those cities, and they've found safety by sticking to a couple of ideas. People from Orod have found safety by sticking to technology and keeping those things running despite the human cost. People of the people of Ishtas have. The people of Orod have found that through faith and, like, gambling and the accumulation of wealth. And the people from Vigil have found that through a strong leader. And they stick to those paradigms because those paradigms work. What you do operates outside of those paradigms, and it is incredibly dangerous work.
What I'll also add to McNancy's point is that as far as the cities above world go, those actually are pretty homogenous. You definitely do have a point that, like, Polyutar kingdoms, Tunneler mainframes, Emberfight clans, those actually are very homogenous.
They tend to be monocultures.
Yeah, those actually do tend to be much more isolated cultures. As a general rule, though, for most of the species, it's rarer to find that kind of isolationism than not. Most of the things in EBA are going to be a lot more intermixed.
And I will say this much, like, as we've developed things, like, that didn't come through in the playtest stuff necessarily, because we were, trying to get this stuff done. But as we've developed lore, like, things have got, like, the Ember fights are probably one of our more built out.
Very much.
And like, they're fairly diverse, right? Like, within the cultures, there's like 3 factions, and yeah. I mean, I don't know. Part of RPGs is it's tough because, like, when especially making like pulpy games, it's monocultures are easier to represent.
Yeah.
It's like the same way Star Wars does monocultures, like one planet, one biome, because fuck, dude.
Yeah, we want to make categories, but also we don't want to categorize people into neatly folded out groups, because that's wrong. At the same time, I don't know, it's hard. Yeah, it's much easier to do.
From a design perspective, anyway.
Right. Elstragoon says, did you feel like that playtest I was in was something that affected that? We punched a lot, very ham-based problem solving.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair. No, well, and it's not just that playtest. It was also when we did the combat playtests, even before that, one of the things that we noticed was players really didn't they didn't want to go out of their comfort zone of, like, I'm gonna ferociously punch this person, I'm going rabid, whatever. And so that was something that we noted actually pretty early on, even from the original playtest. But yeah, how we actually did it, I'm not totally sure. McNancy asks, I'm also curious about your choice to not have PC progression mechanics. Man,
not a choice.
Yeah, I feel ya.
We're not there yet.
Yeah, what I'm gonna tell you is that we were very aware of that putting this out.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we kind of have these as, like, playtest documents as opposed to, like, Vault Peddlers 1E, is because this is literally just designed for, at this point, it's just designed for, like, hey, try this system out, tell us what you think. It's right now it's not properly built for, like, long campaigns. That's going to be something we're going to have to build it up as.
That being said, I mean, I do have some ideas for
I'd
that.
love to know what they are. You've mentioned this a couple of times, but I haven't heard them.
So, I like the idea of like playing into this, this sort of narrative structure that we have with character creation, and I think we could do something with the provinces where when you take on basically like a what is the word I'm looking for? Like a scavenger hunt for like opportunities for you to like do work within your community and do things within your community based on the job that you have taken on. So if you're a pharaoh, it's opportunities to do pharaoh things, and then as the group accumulates like a certain amount of these events or actions, be they successful or failure, whatever that looks like, then you get like so many actually not even so many points. I think we could just do like flat upgrades, like at this many points everyone in the party can upgrade one skill, everyone in the party can upgrade an approach, something like that. And because we have abilities written in, I wouldn't even want to be like long form with it. I think they could come pretty quickly, because as damage accumulates, you're going to be like losing those abilities. So like you're constantly upgrading yourself with all this trash of the old world. So you're big golems by the end.
Yeah, I had kind of a similar idea that was mainly just based on like milestone advancement, where just at a certain point in the narrative, the archivist says, "Okay, you guys have leveled up," and based on what you leveled up with last time, you either upgrade an approach or you upgrade a skill, and then, I don't know, maybe you're given like a petty coin amount equal to your rank. I feel like that can't really work, because once you get past like level 5, players can't even hold that much unless they've got special gear for it. But that was sort of my idea for what it was going to be. I don't know if that's really effective or if it's going to work or not. But suffice it to say, McNancy, yeah, that is something that we're kind of struggling with on our end. And we wanted what we put out in the playtest doc to be relatively finalized ideas and stuff that really wasn't as theoretical for us as advancement currently is. But it definitely is at the forefront of our minds, and it will make its way into whatever the next version of this is. Let's see.
Drawing kind of a sexy polytar.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is actually going to be helpful for, I think McNancy was asking about what Paul Utar looked like yesterday in the background ballad stream. So this might actually be helpful. So Elf Dragoon says, well, one thing about this world you've made is that it seems like the characters are already Vault Peddlers when you start playing them. Yeah. It's not really the story of how I became a Vault Peddler. Yeah. Yeah, definitely not. It's something that you establish in character creation through those questions. But yeah, typically once you start play, that is something that you would actually have already done. Obviously, archivists and tables can run that lots of different ways, but that is the original intent.
Yeah, and we can talk about that a little bit, because it is something that I think like there are a lot of games that are doing this now that I really, really enjoy. It's like it is, for one, starting you off with a group dynamic, which I very much enjoy, and maybe that's something we could lean more into in character creation, because I really like that when games do that. Like, hey, list some interactions you've had with the people in your group. But it's also, it's very blue collar. Like, you're starting off in a job. Like, Mothership does this a lot.
Yeah, Mothership does that great.
Death in Space looks like it does this. What's that other one? Into the Wild Sea does this. We're like, you're all starting off as like workers on a rig, whatever that rig is. And I think that's like really good dynamic for group play.
Yeah. Well, and that was originally the emphasis behind provinces, right?
Yeah.
Was that was our kind of stand-in for like what class is in D&D. But it's, yeah, I agree, McNancy. It's definitely something that is, it's a difficult thing to try and parse out as far as like what players have done. Speaking to Elstragoon's second point, like, do they even get better versus like, do they want to, do we want to just keep them kind of where they at? Cause Elstragoon also added, there's an argument players are as good as they're going to get, at the things they're doing now. Which, I don't know. I don't think that's out of the question, in all honesty. One of the things that we have done is we've created a pretty free-form equipment system that, like, that, I mean, that can be your upgrades. Like, those can be, like, as you level up, like, you just get better equipment, better tags, so on and so forth.
Which I'm not against. I think that like feeds into the idea of the game very well.
I do think it's going to definitely create a lot of like glass cannon situations where, you know, somebody who's been playing the game for however long and has like a crazy powerful, you know, super upgraded weapon. There are definitely going to be a lot of situations where this becomes like one hit kill kind of stuff. The more these weapons get modded out. So that's my only concern there.
I will say this, we've kind of encoded one-hit kills into this game anyways.
Well, yeah, for minions, not for full-on PCs, right? The whole idea is that inflicting 4 whole wounds on somebody should take at least a couple of rounds of combat.
A couple of rounds or like a good item, like you said. But I mean, even then, like, the thing about Vault Peddlers is, right, like, even if you have something, it's not permanent, right? Like, even also your abilities, your skills aren't permanent. Those things are very much... in flux. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. McNancy writes, it's really tricky. It's something I struggle with in my designs. You want PCs to grow and players to be rewarded, but you have to be careful about the direction you're taking things. Yeah, I mean, and there are so many examples, right, in TTRPG stuff where they kind of just let the cart get carried away with the horse. I think that's how the expression goes. Like we've talked on this podcast a lot about how like the power creep in D&D once you get beyond like 10th level. I mean, it's just at that point it's not even fun to play. Because you're just Go ahead.
Go on. Oh, I was just saying that like most of their modules don't go to past 10th or 12th level. Like,
right, exactly. So like it's and that's easily the most successful tabletop RPG out there, right? And it's a game where really it's not feasible to even become a fully maxed out character, which I think says a lot about how difficult making like a good, satisfying advancement system actually is. I'd love to see some data on how high level the average character gets before it's abandoned. This is pulling from just random shit I've seen on Reddit, but I think I normally see like 12th level. Like that's the number that immediately comes to mind. Guessing the attrition beyond the first 1 or 2 sessions is very high. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, it's not just D&D. Like another great example of this is PBTA games. Corey and I, about a year ago, were both running PBTA. I was running Ruma, Dawn of Empire, and he was running Monster of the Week. And we both noticed this, where in both of our PBTA games, the characters were just obscenely powerful, incredibly quickly. So like D&D is not the only guilty party in this. They're a prominent example, for sure. Okay, so I'm actually not a fan of TTRPGs where characters evolve only in terms of stats. I think if you're going to have characters transform in some way, you want to figure out what the game's brand of storytelling wants in terms of development. Also, also a very good point, right? I don't think of Vault Peddlers really as like a power fantasy kind of game. So maybe advancement for us isn't even going to look like improving approaches or improving skills, right? Maybe that's going to look like something totally different. And that's something we probably shouldn't be ruling out.
Discounting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
El Stragoon writes, if you're on Reddit talking about your D&D character, you're probably a very skewed sample already. Yeah, fair. What, everybody doesn't do that?
Listen, let me tell you the Ballad of Geno Clarence.
Oh, my boy. He backflipped everywhere and he couldn't swim.
That was a character choice.
It was a great choice. I watched a stream a few days ago where they were interviewing the guy who made Monster of the Week. Funny to hear you mention that. There's a stream called Not D&D. I wonder if you could talk to them about your thing as a promo. They're a small stream. Thank you so much for the tip-off there. I absolutely... Hey, Not D&D, if you're watching this, we would love to come on your stream and talk about our new Not D&D game called Vault Peddlers.
It isn't D&D.
It's not D&D. Give us a shout out.
Psych it
Idiot!
is! I see you brought in a book of 5e. No?
That's not what that is. Are you sure?
It says 5e on it.
It says Player's Handbook on it.
Listen.
Yeah. PBTA games, when designed well, have PCs being messy and making problems as they solve them. Then, as they level up, they start to get cleaner results so they can start wrapping things up and close the campaign. Well, and to be fair to PBTA, this was a mistake that Corey and I both made. Yeah. We both had this idea that we were going to run very long campaigns in both our games. And we didn't understand that PBTA is not meant for that. PBTA is meant for relatively short storytelling.
Or characters leaving.
Yeah, also true. And that was something on our end, which I think definitely contributed to how rough those games mechanically were to try and manage.
And I think that there's a lot of really smart design in PBTA. But I also think that they are more and more not for me. I've talked about this before, but PBTA and a lot of lightweight storytelling games end up feeling more like storytelling toolboxes to me than games. And at the end of the day, I would like to sit down with my friends and play a game. And you know, that's just me.
Yeah. No, I have come more and more since running a PBTA game to really appreciate games where more stuff is mechanized and the resolution isn't just left to, I don't know, make it up. That becomes really tiring as a GM. It's much more satisfying, in my opinion, to have a really well thought out set of rules that indicate certain consequences or results, positive or negative, based on the outcome of a roll. And I wish that we saw that more. Oh, okay.
What happened?
Nothing. My partner is home early. She's usually not back for like another hour at least. So I don't know. Not a big deal. My dogs, for everybody watching the stream, my dogs are going to go absolutely batshit in like anywhere from 2 minutes to 30 minutes. Sometimes she hangs out and like talks to her mom or whatever. If they freak out, that's what it is.
Taylor's hurting his dogs, obviously.
True, I do that regularly.
But only because I don't love them.
Only because they don't behave the way that they should.
Oh
I like that it's great that I said this on a recorded stream, right? That won't be misused. Yeah. That won't be misused against me ever. Okay, Elstragoon writes, I playtested this storytelling game when I went to my first con, and it was super memorable for me. There was a board, and there were tokens on it, and basically everyone was literally just telling a story. But there was a currency about whose turn it was to talk, and what types of things you could say, and how often you got to talk. Oh, that's a really interesting idea. That's cool.
Yeah.
No, I've been super interested in the way that tabletops seem to have kind of evolved. It seems like as people have gotten more into that D&D that D&D space and then moved out into indie games, it seems like a lot of them lean towards the storytelling aspect. Which actually I think is why Vault Peddlers is such a unique thing. I don't think there are a lot of games out there that are being made that have like a relatively crunchier resolution mechanic.
I actually think that there's I think that trad games are actually fairly high up there, and largely because of D&D. Yeah, traditional games are pretty popular, and then Rules Light and like OSR are also very popular.
Yeah.
Although those always like OSR, I don't know. It's weird because it's like Rules Light, but it occupies its own space.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like storytelling games and gamey games, but I don't like games that clumsily shift between the two. Yeah, absolutely get that. Favorite crunchy TTRPG at the moment is Lancer. Hey, we've got another
Lancer.
We got another Lancer head over here.
Who is that, McNancy? I'm sorry, I don't have...
It's McNancy.
Yeah, dude. Lancer fucking rules. And CompCon is insane. God, I love Lancer so much. And Lancer is weird because it actually does walk that line really, really well. Because it has like a very, very crunchy rule set, unless you're not in your mech, in which case it is a lightweight game. Like, to the upteenth degree. God, man, yeah, I can't say enough good things about Massive.
Yeah, I hope at some point I get the opportunity to play Lancer, because, like, I know you're obsessed with it. Noggin Dude loves it. I know that our friend Space Mouser, Uber Mouser, who's on here sometimes, is also obsessed with it. It seems like everybody I've met who has had anything to say about Lancer has had like positive reviews.
I don't think one of our players would enjoy it though.
Oh, I think I know which one. Yeah. Fair. I don't know. I mean, they got the hang of L5R. Like,
well, yeah, Lancer's just like, there's a lot of combat in Lancer. And they don't particularly vibe on that.
Well,
not that they hate combat.
I mean, they made their character entirely centered around combat. That was their build in L5R. But
for sure. Yeah.
Now, that being said, I mean, obviously it always comes down to what works with the table and what doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah. Let's see here. Oh, right. I was doing a playtest response talk at some point.
For you?
Let's see here.
Do we have to?
I mean, we don't. Okay.
I remember. Hey, I get to see you.
Yeah, right. In literally a week and a day, you and me are going to sit down, exhausted after terrible flights and travel plans, and we're going to sit down over some Chinese takeout, and we're going to put together some minis. And I assume right after that we're going to pass out, so that we can like wake up the next day.
Yeah, I have to wake you up in the morning and make you hate me.
Yeah, it's going to be rough for you, buddy. I'm really sorry.
Well, I'm going to say this to you, Taylor. Registration for events, regular events, opens up at like 10. So we got to be there in
fuck.
time to register.
I'm guessing I missed pre-reg, right?
Thing about pre-reg was it was mostly like Magic the Gathering.
Oh. Okay. Well.
Yeah, neither one of us play that, so.
Yeah, that's not a big deal for me. I'm cool with that.
Yeah. There is a TTRPG music thing.
I did see that. I really would like to go to that. Do you know if that's going to be Arcane Anthems? I didn't see who's actually on it, but I know that they're going to be there.
I did not see. Huh. I have no idea.
Well, either way, that's going to be cool.
There's like under the hood learning about mechanics in TTRPGs, which I was like, that is a workshop that I would like to go to. I know that Acquisitions Incorporated is going to be there on.
Yep.
I don't know what day they are, but I assume we're going to that. Or at least you are.
I am.
I figured I would go too, just because it would be a cool one to do.
Yeah, Ac Inc. is one of the first like actual play things that I started watching when I got into tabletop RPGs, and this was like 5 or 6 years ago. So honestly, yeah, I don't think I can justify going to PAX and not catching that panel. The only way I'm not going to is if I don't get the chance to register to go. Otherwise, yeah, that's on my list for sure.
There's like Q&A, my brother and me, but
it's them.
Yeah. And then there's another thing that they're doing that I want to, like a thing about storytelling that I want to.
Yeah, I saw the storytelling panel. That's definitely want to go see that. I want to get a mini in one of their hands. That's
going to be tough because like
it is.
I don't want to like be a solicitor.
I don't, but I kind of do. Like, I want to have the benefits of being a solicitor without any of the skeezy drawbacks, you know?
Yeah, which like they don't like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Please stop doing this.
Please don't do this. Yeah.
But there's like a bunch of games I would like to try out. I know Alien and The One Ring are being run a lot.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which are both games I want to try.
Yeah, so let me ask you this, because I don't know exactly how these con games work. Do you have to do you make your character before you meet for these games?
I imagine that is the case. I'm not actually sure. Elstricken can probably answer that though.
Yeah, Else, if you can help us out on that'd be very cool. Going back to the chat, we've actually had a couple things here. I agree there's a heavy lean into rules light theater of the mind games. I think maybe it's because the really crunchy tactical crawlers are nowadays just considered board games. Yeah, fair. I don't know. I don't play like stuff like Warhammer or anything like that for that exact reason. So that's probably a fair assessment.
Well, blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. So you know.
Well, you know. Else, yeah, absolutely. We will definitely keep in touch. Never done one without pre-cons. Is that pre-gen? Okay. McNancy says usually they have pre-gen.
Okay, beautiful. Then that is... It don't matter to me.
I was about to say, that's even better. I don't have to do shit. Literally just walk up and give me a sheet.
It's literally worse for me, but whatever. I'll survive.
Oh, no. That's a dream for me, dog. Like, character creation is easily one of my least favorite things as a player. Because, like, and I think Noggin Dude said this the week that he was on here. Like, when I go in with a character, I always have such a loose concept of who that person is. Like, the only time, for context, where I've really felt like I had a character was when I did Horton back in Stars Without Number.
Horton was fun.
Yeah, Horton was fun. And I guess actually Harriet.
Harriet was good.
Yeah, I had kind of a I had kind of an idea of what she was going to be. But everybody else has literally just been me with a weird voice. Like, and then you feel it out, and then you feel it out from there. I mean, that's literally my thing. So if somebody just hands me a character sheet and I'm like, oh, cool, I'm Grognar the Cowardly. Sick. I'm going to figure this out. Like, this is just like
bold. Grognar the Cowardly?
It's pretty tight, right?
Unexpected Grognar.
Yeah. No,
I love character creation.
I know you do. I
have a perversion.
You're incredibly good at it. Now, I would actually I would love if on one of your solo streams, I don't know, maybe you could find some kind of a way to like talk about / show how you make characters. Like you have a real knack for it, and I would love to pick your brain about it.
I dream of them.
How do you guys feel about Burning Wheel? I have no idea what that is, Else, so you may have to help me here.
I have a copy of Burning Wheel. I've never played it. I would like to. It's intense.
What is it?
It's pretty crunchy. He's crunchy. It's this fantasy game with a huge following.
Yeah.
Or maybe huge is the wrong cult following. And there's resolution is meticulous, but very accurate. I don't know how best to describe Burning Wheel. It's nuts.
All right.
You go through a life path system that is very, very intense.
All right, sick. That sounds neat. All right, so while you're there, you guys should get in touch with the people from Alexandria RPG Library. They are cool people, very supportive of indie developers. Sick.
I was looking at their shit today.
What else have they done?
I don't know if they make games. They
they promote?
Something like that. It looked neat, and so I was reading their thing on not drive-through, on what's that thing we're going to? PAX. It was a booth I wanted to check out, though.
A giant traveling bookshelf / rental thing that goes from con to con. That's really tight. That's very cool. They have all the things. All the things! Well, then they're gonna get a fucking business card and a mini from me. 1000%. Combat is weird. You've got to plan your next 3 moves ahead of time and then reveal them. That's very intense. Honestly, pretty cool, though. I feel like that's a really great way to ramp up tension for a combat. I don't hate that idea at all. That's very neat. Let's see here. So they are a library, but instead of books, it's RPGs. Oh, my dear sweet God. I'm going to die.
That's fine. I'll be good. I'm gonna leave with books. Many of them.
No, I'm going to. God, I'm gonna have to struggle really hard not to buy every cool thing I see. Because now I actually have money, Corey, and that's the worst fucking thing in the world. If we had done this 3 years ago, I wouldn't even be stressed about it, because I would just be like, "Look, dude, I'm gonna be able.
I can't get anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna be able to afford my food and maybe a set of dice, and that's it. But I have money now, and I shouldn't, I can't, but I will. I definitely will. And they do a lot of game demos, so they could be very insightful for you. Awesome. Yeah, no, we definitely need to check that out then.
I wonder if it's worth trying to, put together a short adventure as fast as we can the night we get there. And, seeing if we can run it during open tabletop.
Yeah, so I do remember us talking about this a couple of weeks ago. That is still a thing, right? Where they're gonna have open tables for anybody?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, we can just do the same thing. We can just build a couple of pre-made characters, and then just do like a short adventure. Like I know I'd be willing to run it, unless you really want to.
I'd be willing to run something.
Okay, tight. But that'd be a very cool idea.
I think you're a better GM than I am.
I think that's garbage, but yeah, sure, why not? Let's see. I think Alexandria is hosting an RPG demo space. All right, sick. That's very cool. Plenty of open tables. Stream on. Ooh, they stream on Twitch. Okay, cool. We're gonna check that out.
This is, by the way, the sort of design of the Polyutar. I know we had talked about this a little bit.
Yeah, talk about this a little bit, because I was kind of struggling to describe like what their composition is. I think McNancy was asking about it yesterday in Background Ballads.
So we didn't get into the lore particularly deeply in the book for any of the species, but the idea for the Polyutar are based on like colonial hydrozoa, which would be like Portuguese man-o-war are colonial hydrozoa, where they like are a bunch of tiny creatures living together as like one creature. And so the idea is that they have this like they're high evolutionary, and they have like this church or this faction that works between the different regencies that's basically helps farm evolutionary paths and give them to the nobility and gift them to like bequeath these evolutions to the nobility. I can't see what you're laughing at.
McNancy just responded, "Don't bother. I've cemented in my mind they are goo that operates garbage exosuits."
Yeah, I mean, it's not incorrect. The idea is that like they have these breeding pits of these like tiny creatures that they like feed different forms of refuse, and eventually they coalesce into one of these Polyutar.
Yeah.
And anything that fails turns into like, you know, kind of in the same vein as like the Emberphytes, like they turn into monsters. Well, like failed evolutionary paths become monsters as well. And those get introduced to like the basic infantry of the different regencies. So it's very important that like their evolution be guided by these priests. It's very much like I think I was heavily inspired by the Kroot in 40K, which is a lot of the same sort of verbiage.
Yeah, don't know 40K, but I know for me, my first thought was Gattaca. except like the less desirables are automatically enlisted, I guess is a very polite word, like drafted into the military.
Yeah.
They sound like a Magic the Gathering expansion turned into a person. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So like that is the idea, is like a lot of this like aquatic imagery, like they kind of have these like you see right there, kind of like these coral crown kind of things. And then they have like these things around their neck, which like the idea is that those will be like colored differently depending on your rank within society. And like the house that the regency that you operate under. So like, yeah, I don't know, like very, very much kind of like a coat of arms kind of thing was the idea.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a narrative thing that we introduced to the Polyutar very quickly, is that like they are trash people, like biologically that is what they are. But they very quickly developed like a very classical sense of nobility and hierarchy, that kind of like contrasted with like that biological origin. Like I would argue Polyutar are probably some of the harshest societies in EVA, even though they're like, I think some of the coolest designs
I like them.
Yeah.
Design-wise, I think they're cool. They're fun to draw. They're like kind of slender and like I get. They made me understand elves, Taylor. Just because
elves are garbage people.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1000%. It makes sense.
No, because elves are like kind of slender and fun to draw, I bet. But I like the idea of like these kind of like exoskeleton-y bits, which is like what all these holes are denoting. I don't know. I think that they're cool. So that's kind of like the Polyutar sort of design. And he has a gun because Arcane's got fucking guns.
Well, yeah, that's actually something that we need to parse
Talk
out.
about more?
Yeah, I think that in whatever the next section, the next
Guns.
edition or whatever is, well, just like what exists in this world, like, are there flamethrowers? Are there Tommy guns? Is it like some kind of a sci-fi version of all of these things? Are we talking about like plasma rifles? Are we talking about like the world of weapons is enormous, and we've introduced a whole new fantasy world, and basically just told our players, hey, make whatever you want. Which I think going back to it is it's very much that idea of like the PBTA just archivist determines resolution kind of thing. I don't know if it fits. I don't know if that fits our world as well as we would like it to. I think that having the mechanics there to build your own weapons are cool, but I think we're going to need a much larger set of like example weapons than what we have in the playtest docs.
This dude's fucking tight, by the way.
I was about to say I really like this one.
I'm fucking digging him.
Elstragoon says, sounds like a gelatinous cube in a Gundam suit.
Yes.
McNancy says, they look like someone typed Sea Elf into a low-budget AI image generator.
Which Taylor will tell you, I fucking hate elves.
Incredible.
We both do.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're just kind of boring. Like, I don't care. They're boring. They're boring in how mysterious they are. I think that's what it is. Like, everything with fucking elves, and I'm really just talking about Lord of the Rings here. Everything with, like, elves is fucking an unknown, like, why they do what they do, why they build their cities the way that they do. It's just kind of this assumed thing of, like, oh, I'm beautiful and majestic and, like, elegant and whatever. And I don't know, at a certain point, it's just like, man, come on. There's gotta be something more to you than just like being perfect all the time. They remind me of like those perfect church families. I don't know how many of y'all out there grew up going to church like 3 times a week like I did. But they remind me of those people that like the perfect family that goes to church all the time, and it's like, we all know you're not that happy, we all know you're not that good, gotta chill.
This dude fucking beats ass.
Yeah, this guy's great. Elstragoon, I am watching, I did actually watch Rings of Power. I actually liked it. I know that a lot of people gave it shit for like its CGI, and I know some people gave it shit for inconsistencies with the Tolkien lore. And like, here's the thing for me, my bar for CGI is not super high. Like, if you can at least match what was done in like the 90s or like the 2000s, I'm cool with it. And I love Tolkien. I'm what I call a Tolkien dork, but that is distinguished from a Tolkien nerd in that I don't know anything about the Tolkien universe. I just really enjoy it. So I didn't spot whatever liberties they did take, and whatever liberties they did take, I really didn't care. It was fun. You didn't feel like the elf characters are pretty deep in that. Hey, honestly, no, I really didn't. I think that they like to stare off into the distance, and that they have very beautiful faces when they stare off into the distance. And I think that people mistake that for being deep. But really, in all honesty, no, it's not deep at all. They're just a species on Middle Earth that apparently are going through some kind of a migration. So maybe there's something you can argue as far as like, it's like an instinct, like when birds fly south for the winter. But no, as far as were they pretty deep in either Lord of the Rings or Rings of Power, no, I did not think of them as particularly deep. I will distinguish, you can have a well-written character who isn't deep necessarily, right? Somebody who's like fun and rambunctious and like, you know, has a lot of personality. What was that?
Mira.
Yeah, right? Mira's not a deep character. she's very surface level. But like, she's still well written. She's still entertaining to watch. So that's my take on them. No, I don't think they're particularly deep. I don't get what all the hype is about, but they're like, they make good entertainment.
I like in things like D&D when they're like, oh, the spirit arcane war that happened fucking 500 years ago that nobody remembers. I'm like, Doug's 500. Doug, do you remember this war? Oh yeah, that sucked.
Yeah. Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the one thing about Rings of Power was like, we've been searching for Sauron for however many years, and it's like, oh, he's right there. And it's like, I don't recognize him. It's like, why? That was like, I think like not even 100 years ago or something. It's like, you were definitely alive, and you looked the same age you look now. How do you not recognize the guy? Like, seems like you would recognize that energy. I don't know. If you're that deep, if you're that sensitive to you know, whatever aura's out there, maybe that was something that would register higher for you. I don't know where I'm even going with this. But this is how little I know about the Tolkien universe. So what?
The answer to that question is that Morgoth is just more powerful than they were. So
what does that mean?
He changed Sauron.
Changed Sauron?
Yeah, Morgoth like twisted him.
No. This is after he was twisted. Like,
so they didn't remember him. I didn't watch the show.
Okay, in the opening of Rings of Power, they have this whole thing like showing Sauron in like the famous suit of armor and all that, like waging war on the species of Earth. It's not the battle where Isildur cuts his hand off or anything like that, but this is like a previous thing. They introduce him as like one of the servants of Morgoth. And then they talk about how he disappears.
Don't do that.
Yeah, right? No, he disappears, and Galadriel is trying to find him. And like, I don't want to say too much more on that, but like, they find him and they like don't even realize that it's him, and it's just like, you were right there in front of him. There's an explanation I could give you, but do you really care? Like,
I kind of care.
Like 60%. Yeah, no, by all means, go for it. It's one of those. Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm giving it a ton of shit right now, but I actually love Lord of the Rings. Like, yeah. I adore those movies. I just rewatched them, like 2 weeks ago. And like, they still hold up. They're phenomenal. And I also liked Rings of Power. I also want to be clear on that. Like, it was a fun show. I just don't necessarily...
While this is going on, I will say that I started Andor, and it has reinvigorated my love for Star Wars.
Yeah, I need to start that one. I've heard it's very good.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Everything I've seen about Andor has been what's the word?
Praising it.
Everything I've seen about Andor has been that this is what Star Wars could have always been, and it's a shame that it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good. It just makes it's like, man, I started watching Rebels because of it. I'm like, oh, Rebels is great. It is, by the way. Rebels is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, I should go back and watch The Mandalorian instead of stopping halfway through the second season, which I don't know why I did. I was enjoying it quite a bit, but I did. So.
Sometimes that happens. I remember I did the same thing with, I think it was the second season of Daredevil when that was out, and like, it was the season with like the Punisher and Elektra and all that, and like halfway through it, like I finished the Punisher arc on it, and like they introduced Elektra, and I don't know what happened. I think we just stopped watching for the night, and we meant to pick it up, and we just never did. Like, very weird. Okay, so Sauron is of the Maiar, like a wizard or a Balrog. Again, familiar with that. He can change his shape and glamour people. Oh, okay.
Wait, is Sauron of the Maiar? I thought he was an Einar. No, wait, no, yeah, he's of the Maiar. That's right. He's not Einar. What am I talking about?
Einar is like Morgoth, right?
Yeah. That's like Morgoth.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say. I know a tiny bit of Tolkien lore. I don't know a ton. But okay, yeah, change of shape and glamour people. Wouldn't recognize him, wouldn't sense him.
He's a vampire.
Holy shit, can we have that crossover?
I tried to see if Shayna would want to play a vampire game. She said no.
Aww.
I was like, come on, we can dunk on him.
I was about to say, what about like a What We Do in the Shadows kind of vampire game? Like, that'd be fun. See you later, else. See you next week, man. Have a good night. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's see here. Yeah, no, I definitely, going back to what we were talking about before, definitely want to have a Lord of the Rings vampire crossover. Because I want to hear, I can't carry the ring for you, Mr. Frodo, but I can carry you! And then Frodo goes, blah!
I thought Sam hits him. He's like, get up though, for real.
Yeah, get up.
I'm doing a lot of work now.
I can carry you. I'm not gonna. Just get up. It's like 20 feet from here.
Good lord.
Drama queen. Guy that he pretends to be in the show is not in the books. In the books, he disguises himself as an elf. Huh. Yeah, I'm trying. So, McNancy, trying not to speak too explicitly about it, because I'm sure that's probably on Corey's docket, but that would have made more sense, I think, given how that season ends. But
are they doing a second season?
Yeah, dog.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Or at least that's how the story leaves off.
I thought they didn't get particularly good, not a lot of watch.
I actually thought that they commercially did pretty well. Hang on, let me...
I know they were going on at the same time as House of Dragon, which is probably tough.
Well... was it a success? Performed exceptionally well for a Prime Video series as of October 23rd. Hit or a flop. Broke Prime Video viewership records when more than 25 million people watched on the first day.
What about the preceding?
Oh. And there they go.
And boom goes the dynamite.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Every time. It will get me every time.
Another good Amazon miniseries that I just watched is English.
I heard that's good.
Really freaking dark, though. I've never heard of this. What is this?
Is it Emily Blunt or something? It's fucking. I don't know. My supervisor was just telling me about it. He was watching it.
Huh.
Said it was really good.
Yeah, no, we've been rewatching all of the episodes of Criminal Minds, so that's been
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hey man. Look, sometimes
It's just you said rewatching all of Criminal Minds.
That is accurate. Well, actually,
Is there a lot of those?
There are 15 seasons. They have They apparently just started. Apparently, the show is coming back, and they just started filming a 16th. Yeah, no, actually, so we're technically not rewatching them because I think last time we only watched these through, I think, one other time, and we got to season 9 or something like that. But we're pushing through right now. We're in season 12 out of 15, and yeah, it's one of those shows just to have on, you know? You're doing other things. Oh, yeah. That's the purpose the Criminal Minds serves.
Does this dude look like he's rolling his eyes a lot?
You're gonna need to zoom in for me just a little bit. Give me a headshot.
No, I'm not supposed to zoom in when I draw Taylor.
A little bit, yeah. He looks very bored.
Good.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to zoom in when you draw Taylor.
Well, I didn't know that. Probably explains why all of my stuff looks so weird, because I definitely do. Let's see here.
Do you have Procreate?
I'm gonna assume / hope that is a computer software.
It's for your iPad has it.
I don't have an iPad. Is it on Android? Or?
Right. You have the, I forgot.
I've got a Galaxy Tab.
I knew you were drawing on something.
Yeah, no, it's, I'm using Ibis Paint X on an Android tablet. It's not a great thing. But I also, am not trying to be an incredible artist. I just want to communicate ideas that you can do.
I drew a baby.
I saw.
I drew a lot of babies that day.
I would like to see the baby.
I'd like to see the baby.
I feel like Andor was made in response to the Empire did nothing wrong meme. Corey, if you have a response to that.
The Empire did everything wrong.
Right.
But to that, the rebels aren't all good guys either.
Well, that's been Star Wars up and down since really, I think since the prequels.
Rogue One, I think, really tied that knot.
I mean, it did. The prequels implied a lot more, or maybe more accurately, the fans inferred a bunch from the prequels. Whether it was actually directly implied or not is another question. Yeah.
I wasn't planning on drawing Taylor.
You're doing so good, though.
What are you doing over there?
Nothing. This entire time, I was supposed to be making a Google form for everything, and I got swept up in talks about tabletop RPGs and Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, and I've been sitting here doing absolutely nothing.
So I'll say this much, Taylor.
Yeah.
If we are going to possibly put together an adventure to run,
yeah,
I will bag things when I get there.
Okay.
I'll have a lot of time to kill, and then we won't have to worry about doing that when you get there.
Oh, and then we can just sit over dinner and plan out an adventure. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Let's see here. Okay. Benny.
Benny and the Jets.
But Benny is a pet. Ba ba.
Benny is a pet. Benny.
She took a shit.
Oh, I gotta tell you, the funniest thing my niece has ever done. She is very hilarious.
What'd she do now?
Let me send you a picture.
Okay.
I got to find. My niece is fucking funny, yo. My brother's name is Taylor. Ever since, dude, I have to do this ever since I got COVID to remember things. I have to, like, prompt myself with, like, questions and things in order to remember what I'm trying to, like, recall. Like, in order to bring it to the forefront. And, like if I'm trying to find my brother's Instagram, I have to be like, my brother's name is, and that will prompt me to, like, oh, right.
That makes no sense to me, dog, but I'm glad it works for you.
It makes me feel stupid.
I mean, it makes me feel very confused, but, like, if it works, then that's the important thing, right?
Yes. I never used to have to do this. Now I have to. It's on Taylor's. Let me... This is good.
Just waiting.
I gotta crop in all the important parts. It's a picture she drew of the family. Now I gotta find my best friend's name is Taylor. No, here's monsters. No, not Herschel Walker, please. What?
No, send it to Herschel Walker with no explanation.
He'll start talking about vampires to me.
Oh my god, did you see that shit too? It's the weirdest fucking thing, dog.
I'm sorry, what's happening right now? I used...
The worst thing is, I'm pretty sure he's talking about, oh fuck, what is the name of that movie?
Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Yeah, 100% he is.
Okay, it's Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I was thinking of something else then. Yeah, dog, I don't even know. I'm so tired of being a Georgia voter, y'all.
Look at the picture I sent you. And the caption.
Did you actually send it? Okay, there we go. Okay, do the sweet.
Looking pretty cool, right? It's pretty fucking cool, right?
Okay, so... Okay, so look, I know that I know that sometimes kids can draw totally innocent things that look to an adult like it's awful. Is this what that's supposed to be?
Oh yeah, that is 100% what that's supposed to be.
I'll tell you the story
that's the
once idea.
You explain it to the good people.
Yeah. So what I'm looking at right now is, you know what? I'm just gonna put it right there. Okay. So you can get kind of a good idea of what's on this thing. It's pretty detailed, and the caption. I guess you can't read the caption, but the caption is, Winnie drew this sweet family portrait of all of us shitting on the floor. It's just incredible. I need every detail of the backstory on this image.
Yeah.
Right now, post haste.
So she drew the picture of the family, and Taylor was like, that's a really nice picture of all of us. And Winnie goes, oh, hold on, I have another idea. And she took the picture and ran into the corner and finished it with what you see. Which was like the most me thing I've ever
Fuck. Dog, I wish I had Winnie's sense of humor when I was young. She's gonna grow up to be the funniest goddamn person on the face of the earth. And we're gonna have to sit here on the sideline and watch.
Anyways, this is a picture of me and my family shitting.
Unbelievable.
Very good, dude.
Unbelievable. Very good. I very much enjoy that when she writes her name, as you can see up here at the top, that she dots her eyes like little lollipops, and it's like it's like a full circle. It is very, very cute, and so accurate, right? Like, what is a family gathering if you're not all shitting together on the floor?
It's true.
It's very true. I mean, Thanksgiving is upon us.
In this time of thanks, do as the Pilgrims did and gather together and shit on the floor.
And with that, I think that maybe it might be time to go ahead and call it for tonight. So if you tuned in to the last bit of this stream, and you're wondering,
is Nancy still here?
Yeah, right. We haven't heard anything from him, so maybe
it devolved here.
But yeah, if you're stopping in and you're wondering what in the hell this is, hi, we're TGS Games. Every Wednesday we meet for a stream on Twitch where we talk about our new game Vault Peddlers, and as you may have guessed, literally anything else that we feel like. We just released the playtest doc for our new... McNancy says, I have kids. This is basic stuff.
Listen, it's good art.
It's great art. She takes after her uncle. So normally we talk about our flagship game, Vault Peddlers, for which we have just released our new playtester rules. So if you are interested in exploring a new world with original mechanics, feel free to go ahead and give that a download. I'm not looking at the number of downloads yet. I don't want to jinx myself on it. I'll let y'all know in like a week once it's been out there for a little bit longer. Suffice it to say, we just want to thank everybody in the community for paying us any attention at all. We've gotten really great feedback already on our Discord, which you should join if you're interested. And yeah, we just want to thank everybody so much for stopping in, and we will see y'all maybe in a week. We may take next Wednesday off. I'm not totally sure.
Nancy, this is a Paul Utar.
And this is a Paul Utar. That being said, folks, thank you so much for stopping in, and we'll see you when we see you. Bye.